Welcome to the Santa Cruz Coffee Break. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcast, please follow, hit the like button, or any subscribes. It really helps us with the algorithms. Santa Cruz Coffee Break is produced by the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum. All opinions are those of the speakers. We invite you to join us on the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum at SCGCPF for more fun. Now, let's get on with this installment of Santa Cruz Coffee Break.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the 34th Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum podcast. And today we have a repeat customer, Adam Traum. And Adam just released a wonderful lesson on Homespun on picking techniques. And I was quite surprised to find hybrid picking in there and things like that. So Adam, Tad,
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for checking out the lesson.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I really like the way it came together. I did a lot of planning for it, and I was really thinking about, you know, what might suit a need for people, and I kind of felt like the shortcomings. I did my first two blues guitars with a flat picks. Those first couple of them were I felt good about them, but I felt like this one needed a little bit more direction, and I wanted to give some things that maybe that some of the Homespun customers hadn't had a chance to look at. So
What? How do you go about planning?
Well, first of all, I always think about what my concept is going to be first, you know, so I really start big picture, and then I start thinking about what kind of material is going to benefit the student. And, you know, some of it's anecdotal from what I've taught people, and some of it is what is in the Homespun catalog already that hasn't been covered. So I really made a concerted effort to do some songs that hadn't been done on previous Homespun Homespun lessons. Like I wanted to bring some more women's work into it, so I was able to bring in a really cool Bessie Smith song, that the Thinking Blues, which is just it's such a cool tune, and I wanted to bring in some of those like early jazz blues elements, and her horn player on Thinking Blues did some incredible lines that really lent themselves to the guitar, and I felt like if I could give people a kind of different approach to those lessons, it would be helpful.
How many songs are on it?
I believe I did.
I thought there was like 20.
No, maybe it felt like it, but no, I did. There was a total of 6 separate grooves on it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And I saw it a couple different ways. Yeah.
So there were 5 actual songs, and then I did kind of a slightly generic minor blues, just because I wanted to show people how you could adapt a minor blues to that style for the flat pick.
Well, lots of learning there.
Yeah.
So Adam, you have a number of videos and lessons on Homespun. Do you keep track? Do you have like hash marks on the wall or something that every time you do one, you put another?
Well, no, I don't. The only hash marks I make on the wall is how tall my kid is getting, which is now significantly taller than me. He's a monster, but no, you know, the trick for me is finding new material and fresh ideas, because, you know, I've done quite a few now, and so some of my process is like looking through what I've done already and trying not to repeat too much.
Yeah. How? Okay. Yeah. Good.
So is there a master plan to the lessons that you're doing, or is this more of oh, this is really cool, I got to show people this kind of approach?
I try and think about what excites me as a
Okay.
musician. Like I figure, all of the teachers that I've ever had, whether they're music teachers, English teachers, science teachers, whatever, those teachers who were excited about the subject matter always influenced me the most. So I figure if I'm interested and really like it, then hopefully people who are taking the lesson will get excited by it too.
That, I think that's a great approach to any of this stuff. Is if you're not excited about it, then it's hard to make anybody else excited about it.
Yeah, it's really and it's fun for me. I get a lot of joy out of teaching it, and also like sometimes I find new material that like I I might have missed or whatever. It's like kind of a learning process for me. I've found since I started teaching, I guess I in 2006 was when I went from part-time musician playing gigs on some weekends to like really committing to it. I found that in that time when I really started teaching and started teaching more intensively, I actually became a much better player. And I was, and at the risk of sounding like I'm being name droppy here, um, I was taking pictures of Yorma one time for a homespun video that he was doing, and and I asked him how teaching had impacted his playing, and he said he felt the same exact way that I did, that really slowing down and having to show people things allows you to become more masterful with your craft. So, I feel like I probably get as much out of teaching these things as my students do.
That's an interesting perspective. I had never thought about what the teacher benefits, other than potentially financially, from the process. But it sounds like as a musician, you actually can benefit from this as well. That's very cool.
I've grown a lot as a teacher, and then the other part of it is like as you teach, and especially doing these videos for Homespun, like I try and make each one better than the last one. And as I teach, like I sort of look back because I edit my own videos. Um, Excuse me while I turn off my email. Just I don't want to hear dings while we're doing this. Um, as I get to watch myself and I go, oh well, I'm saying a lot, and there's like gaps, and I sort of see where it's sort of like an instant self critique. It's sort of like when I go into the studio to record, it's everything's under a microscope. So I find that by teaching and doing more of these, I really sort of have, it's like putting myself under a microscope. So I hope it's helped my teaching privately as well as on my homespun videos.
So, do you get inspiration from your students? I mean, when you're working with students and they come across a technique or something that they're having trouble with and you're having to work with them, does that like sort of light bulb off in your head? It's like, I should do a video on this.
Sometimes, yeah, yeah. And like one of the cool things is sometimes my younger students will get me turned on to a song or a style or a band that I'm like, wow, these guys are great. How could I have missed these guys, or missed these girls, or whatever the band is. Uh, I'm trying to think about some students. Um, it's not necessarily related to homespun or anything like that, but I was looking for some material for one of my students who's getting really good, and he's a really good singer, and he's a young guy, and he just keeps getting better and better. And I was like, what could he use for his lessons? And so I started looking up new music, and I've stumbled onto some really cool things, like the Black Pumas are an amazing band, like, and they're just so full of groove, and their guitar player does really interesting voicings. And so I'll bring all of those things into my sort of traditional worldview. So hopefully I'm expanding things for people as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've noticed that we have a young woman that's singing with our group, and she is aware of so many more bands that I have never heard of, and she brings material from time to time. It's like, whoa, this is fantastic. How is it that I've not heard of this? Why am I still listening to Led Zeppelin?
Right. Well, I'm still listening to Zeppelin. I just adapted a version of Down by the Seaside,
Ah.
which really lends itself to acoustics. But having said that, yes, I get your point. It's like, there are so many interesting bands out there happening that it's impossible to keep up with them all. And I love, that's one of the reasons I really like working with younger students, is because there's all these things some things that don't grab me, but a lot of them are like these young singers who are really soulful and play great and sing great, and it's neat to see that the evolution of music.
So one thing I've always wondered, do you get feedback from students who watch your Homespun lessons? Do they reach out to you after they've downloaded the lessons? And do you make connections that way?
I do. A guy emailed me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I really love your lessons. I know you might not do it, but do you teach privately?" And so, now we meet about once a month and go over some things. And so, people definitely do. And people will email me or text me, through social media. I guess they call it a DM these days or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
What's the title of this thing?
of my lesson?
Yes.
It's blues guitar with a flat pick. Oh gosh, you had to ask me, didn't you?
I did.
Let me find out here.
Volume 3, isn't it?
It is volume 3.
I totally wasn't expecting that one. Hang on. Oh, let's see. Learn blues guitar with a flat pick. 3. The official title, we changed Tricks, Licks, and Time-Honored Songs.
Oh.
We changed the title a bunch of times. I just always went with blues guitar with flat pick 3, but yeah, I really wanted to find some songs that held up, and also just songs that I really loved. Like one of the songs I did on it was Ain't Nobody's Business But My Own, or Ain't Nobody's Business If I Do. And that song it's amazing. Has such a storied past. Like everybody has done that song, from Bessie Smith to Clapton, and I took an Otis Spann version of it, and I did it. One of the things I did very unconsciously was I took sort of older approaches to blues and slowly kind of went to more modern constructs, and I think I didn't even mean to do them that way. The exception being a drop D version of Statesboro Blues by Blind Willie McTell, which I ended with.
Okay.
I love that one. I'm a big Allman Brothers fan for what they did with it, and you treated it really well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love the Blind Willie version, and one of the reasons I was really gravitating towards that song was I spent a lot of time in that part of the world, and so I went to the Blind Willie Festival in Thompson, Georgia, where he's from, a couple of years. I have a good friend who still lives in Statesboro, Georgia. I worked in that area quite a bit as a photojournalist in my previous career. So that was really kind of cool to me, was the fact that, I got to do this great song that I related to so much, having been down there.
Nice. Well, now this is I guess unofficially now Flatpicking Blues Volume 3. Is it a cumulative series, or would you say people can just pretty much jump in on any one of them depending upon their skill level or their interest in the material being presented, or
Good question. I think you could jump into any one of them and be totally okay with it. They're all a similar level, sort of intermediate. People you people will definitely need to know their way around the guitar a little bit. Like, you got to have your first position chords together, be able to change chords, things like that. But beyond that, it's, people can adapt to their levels from that point on.
yeah, so if you started with volume 3, you wouldn't miss out on who killed the butler, or who's gotten together with who on the island, or
No, definitely not. You wouldn't miss who was voted off the island.
okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. Although I want to mention, it looks like they offer a nice 3 lesson set
They do, yeah.
at a
It's really
very,
cool.
very fair price.
One of the things that I think is neat about Homespun is, in order with any of the instruction, with any of the instructors, like, how are you going to get a chance to have a lesson right there with someone like my dad with Happy, or with Artie, and with like Bill Monroe and Ralph Stanley. Those guys aren't around anymore, and there's a chance. And so, you can get up close and personal and ask them to do it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
And that's and at a pretty reasonable price. Like, the price of a private lesson with a private instructor, me included, is going to be significantly more. Not that it doesn't hold a lot of value to do that, but it's it's a great supplement to those kind of things, and you can really get a lot out of them.
Yeah, that's been my experience with the online or video, DVD, whatever you want to call them, lessons, is that if you apply yourself, you can gain a very great deal from them, but you don't get feedback like you get when you're playing with a teacher or another
Right.
musician or something. There are things that you can practice over and over and over again just to have somebody say, it would be a lot easier if you tried this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's where live teaching comes in, and that's actually, it's funny you mentioned that. That's an area of homespun that I've sort of started to explore a little bit, because as I've gotten more involved with the family business, I've been thinking about ways to better serve the students, and I think, so, we're looking at how to address some of that. How to either set up a forum where people can, upload something and say, can you see a better way to do this, or whatever, and I think there's some of that on the Homespun site, but I think it would be cool to have some of. I think that would be a valuable component.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we'll wait until they develop the 3D hologram projector so that Adam Traum could show up in your living room and explain to you what you're doing wrong.
Sounds kind of scary.
Halloween.
Boo.
Yeah, boo, it is Halloween. So you were just up back on the East Coast.
Yeah, I was
What were you doing?
visiting with my folks. I hadn't seen them in almost 2 years. I guess I saw them February of 2019 or 2020, and then all this happened. Um, so uh, so I just wanted to get a visit in, and I spent a bunch of time hanging with my sister, and we're very close, but we don't see each other very often because she's in Woodstock, and so we just really spent a bunch of time hanging out, and we took a little bit of advantage of my being there. We played we played table tennis one afternoon because my folks are total really amazing at table tennis. Um, they're
Oh,
they're
good to
ping
know.
pong they're ping pong fanatics. Um, my mom is a beast up there on the ping pong table. She's really she's awesome. I felt lucky to get 2 points from her in the game that we played. Um, but no. So we talked a little bit about work. I actually took the advantage because I'm a little bit more versed in production techniques, and so we did some work for we set up some audio protocols, you know, things like that. So we talked a little bit of business. We scheduled one day for a meeting to talk about projects and things like that. But mostly it was to hang. I had a couple video lessons while I was there. So and it's modern age. It's great. We can work from wherever we need to. So I was able to keep up with my correspondences and stuff like that.
Well, your dad Happy is an icon, and just wondering, does he still show you stuff? Do you sit down with him on the guitar, and does he show you things?
Yes, and it's kind of cool. It's gotten to the point where we show each other things. I'll do something and he'll sort of go, "Oh, how'd you do that?" It was really fun. We didn't pick a whole lot, but we carved out a little period in like late afternoon or early evening. We played for probably 45 minutes or an hour, just hanging out and picking trading songs back and forth, and that's always really fun. I got to finally play his Happy Traum model,
Yeah.
the HT13, which was just a stellar guitar. I found myself. I kept on, he'd go out of the room and I'd be like, yoink.
So what's in the future?
I'm working on a really cool method video that I can't quite talk about yet, but it's going to be a fairly intensive, very different style video. It's really going to be a method book, which I'm hoping after the video to turn it into a book, that either an ebook or a physical book. Um, I've never done a method book before, and it's a little bit adventurous and a little bit frightening because it delves into theory and sort of it's the trick is going to be to keep the material fresh you know while it's still being sort of academic. I'm I sort of I've always played with feeling and soul and taught that way, um, and not that that's going to change, but the this particular method book is going to be more about some technical things. So that's going to be my challenge with this, is going to be to keep it fun.
Is this your first book?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've only done lessons. We're gonna start it as a lesson, but I the goal is to eventually make it a book as well.
Nice. Nice.
So as
Exciting.
soon and I'm actually going to be shooting it in the next 3 weeks. So once it's out, I'll let you guys know and
Great.
send you a copy.
Yeah.
Great. Great. Well, I'm gonna pack up the farm here. I think we know what we're looking for when we go looking for Homespun, and we're looking for this DVD or this online lesson or whatever it is these days. And
Well,
anything.
we'll make sure to add all the links to everything so that people don't have to work too hard to find it.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate you guys helping me promote this, and just my Santa Cruz OM. I sort of got home. I was like, Sonny. That's what I named the guitar, Sonny. I was like, Sonny, I'm so happy to see you. The Happy Traum model was great, but it's not Sonny. No, but I appreciate everything you guys do, and the fact that you're all so helpful with acoustic music and really keeping all that tradition alive. And And if I could just plug with you guys really quick,
Please,
my
please.
website is adamtraumguitar.com. I do Zoom lessons if anybody's interested. I do in person if people are in the Bay Area. And then and my band Wolf Run is almost done tracking. We've got a couple of vocals to lay down, and we're going to start mixing our new record. So
Super.
very excited about that, and that's a little bit of a creative departure from my acoustic world. I play a bunch of Telecaster on it, as well as my Santa Cruz. So
Great. Let us know when it's available.
Yeah,
I sure
and
will.
let us know when you're going to have the release party.
Totally. Yeah.
There you are. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks,
So,
you guys. It's great to see you, and
yeah, thanks for the time, Adam. You're very gracious with it on a hard week and all that stuff. So appreciate it very much.
always. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys around.
All
You
right,
too.
happy Halloween, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Happy.
We hope you enjoyed this installment of the Santa Cruz Coffee Break. For more music-related fun, please join the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum at SCGCPF or santacruzguitarplayers.com. If you have any questions or possible podcast topics, please contact us. If you have a product or service that you feel would be of value to our listeners, please consider adding your support and keeping the coffee pot on. Contact us for more information. We ask that you hit the like, follow, bell, or bookmark buttons so we can keep you informed of upcoming podcast episodes. We hope you enjoyed Santa Cruz Coffee Break. Now it's time to go play your guitar.